Hey guys, and welcome to my day 2 Pick'em Challenge predictions. And obviously, day 1 had some upsets here, nearly 4 upsets, but for the most part, did fairly well. Obviously, iBuyPower losing to Pentasports that hard. I guess it wasn't even that hard. It was mostly just a choke. They had 13 rounds on the CT half to 2 rounds on Pentasports. On Inferno, going into the T half, they didn't get even 1 round here on iBuyPower. They came so close so many times, but they just couldn't do it, and they got booted out right there in group stage. I don't think anyone saw Pentasports passing. I mean, some people might have, I guess, but I certainly didn't, and most people certainly didn't, especially over 2 arguably very strong teams. I mean, I know iBuyPower got their little roster shakeup and all, but you'd think they'd be able to beat Pentasports after they stomped Copenhagen Wolves there on Nuke. But Cloud9 versus Hellraisers, arguably a very tough decision. Hellraisers pretty much stomped Cloud9, and then they beat Fnatic, so that was pretty good. LDLC was pretty easy. They pretty much destroyed ESC. I think it was 16-4. And then they beat NIP on Overpass, I believe 16-13. Excuse me. And then NIP very nearly lost to ESC Gaming on Cash. It came down to like just the wire basically, and they very nearly lost. They took a timeout and they regained themselves, but they managed to squeak it by in typical NIP fashion. And then there was Na'Vi versus Flipside. Again, Na'Vi barely squeaking by. They got absolutely destroyed by Virtus.pro, if I remember correctly, from looking at the scores. I wasn't able to watch that match, but I believe Virtus.pro went like 16-2 to Na'Vi or something like that on Nuke. And then Na'Vi very nearly lost to Flipside Tactics. They took it to 1 overtime. Somehow, by some miracle, they won an eco round on the last round, made it 15-15. And then they just rolled Flipside on that overtime. But now to the predictions. Oh, well, let's start with this one, I guess, because I put a sticker on there on accident. But Na'Vi versus Dignitas. I think Dignitas will take it. Again, Na'Vi played pretty poorly today. Na'Vi a pretty strong team, but that was hard to watch. I know it was on Overpass, but I think in a best of 3, Team Dignitas will take it. And disclaimer, I should probably say this now: never ever follow anybody's predictions blindly. Do your own research, because as we can tell, there's some upsets here. But again, do your own research. Don't just be like, oh, Jay chose these teams, so that's gonna be the winners. Don't do that, please. Definitely do your own research. But here, I think this is the safest one right here: Virtus.pro versus Penta. Penta, yeah, they beat iBuyPower. They beat who else was it? Copenhagen Wolves. But I don't see them beating Virtus.pro in a best of 3. Virtus.pro looked very strong today, and I think they'll take it pretty easily. And these last 2 are very risky. These last 2 are pretty much 50-50s. You might even say this one is like a 50-50, but Nib, again, they barely squeaked by today. And Hellraisers, they pretty much destroyed Cloud9, and they beat Fnatic, 2 very strong teams. And Fnatic is arguably the best in the world. You guys might disagree with this, especially since it's the best of 3, but I'm going to go with Hellraisers because, again, Hellraisers, they beat Fnatic. It might not have been by a lot, but they beat Fnatic, and they beat Cloud9. They beat Cloud9 convincingly. Hellraisers seem like a whole new team, and yeah, you might say, oh, they usually choke in the semis, or the quarters. That's kind of true, but here's why I think Hellraisers will squeak it out. Again, they're a whole new team. That addition of Simple is just amazing. He's really doing well on their team. And they have a new coach who has obviously just been doing really well for them. I mean, he's in game with them. They are allowing that. He's in the TeamSpeak chat with them, and seems like he's very much so making sure that they don't make the silly inconsistencies that they make all the time. But on to the last one. This one is tough. LDLC, again, they destroyed ESC, but that was on Cobblestone, and they beat NIP on Overpass. LDLC is a very strong team, and they're one of my favorite teams, so part of me wants to be like, oh, that's the team I'm going to pick. But again, Fnatic is a very good team. But again, they lost to Hellraisers. I'm very I might change this one later on, but right now, I'm going to go with LDLC. LDLC, it seems like they really want it a lot more. And Fnatic, they're coming into this very cocky. I think that might get to their head a little bit. They're like, oh, we're the best team in the world. Everyone's calling us the best team in the world, so obviously we're just going to be able to stomp these other teams. And I think LDLC, they want the revenge on Fnatic, and I think they'll get it. I mean, it obviously comes down to the maps, but I think LDLC have the drive. I think they can do it. I think these two right here are their riskiest choices. Again, please don't follow them blindly. Don't blame me if you choose these and then lose, but these are my predictions, and those are some of my little analysis, whatever the plural of analysis is for these matches. And as always, good luck, and thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.